the doctors. Why do we find such a misrepresentation in gender on this doctor pipeline? A, so is there a leaking pipeline? B, if you look at heads of departments, if you look at many of the departments, they are all male. And the concentration of women is on very focused departments, maybe gynecology, maybe pediatrics, maybe dermatology, to some extent radiology. Now with the corporatization of the medical sector, just like the public sector, how do you feel the medical profession is addressing this gender balanced leadership on this key triadic line?
You're absolutely right. In the medical profession, as you go up the ladder, you have to give more and more time to your profession, to the needs for the administration, and the demands on your time keep going up. And many women very subtly start withdrawing at that point because they're happy, they're doing their practice well. So they kind of slide off because they want to spend more time with their children or with the family. In many cases, it also happens that if the top job requires relocation or moving to another place, many women would just not take that top job and decline. In the medical profession now, also if you see the choice of profession, more and more men take up surgery, excepting gynecology, and more women would take up professions which have no emergencies like radiology, like dermatology, and things where they know they don't have to go for an emergency, or it won't be taxing and intrude in their family life. So I think even in the medical profession, it's a mirror of the rest of the corporate world. But there, women stay on in the profession much more, primarily because of the option of freelancing, because they can work from home, they can continue to work from home. And that's why I keep going back that, sometimes we just have to look at what works rather than, it should be this way or that way. And if it works, fine, let that be. I mean, at the end of the day, it's to give everybody an opportunity to work and to express their talent. It doesn't matter if it's from the home, or it's from the office, or it's a hospital, it doesn't matter at all.
Okay. Can I have one question? Here, this side.
She's been raising her hands.
One question from the side. You're not seeing this side.
Hi, I'm Professor Jyoti. I teach at Wellinger Institute of Management. My question to you is, we are grooming leaders for tomorrow, the future leadership, which includes both men and women, and approximately in equal proportion, at least at the college level. What role do you think we can play in having a more gender balanced leadership in future corporates tomorrow? Today, as B schools, what can we do from our side?
Straight away, I can suggest that you can introduce a kind of a course on diversity and gender balance, which, as far as I know, Wellinger doesn't have that course. You can introduce that and make sure that equal number of male students attend that course. That's one kind of a thing. Second, as I know that not many there have been some research here and there, but there is no more focus on documenting best practices in diversity. For example, here we have seen what Schneider has done. Could you really document that and use that as a case study for your teaching? So there are different ways that you can make your course more enriched. Okay? There was one.
Okay, from here, last one. My one doubt, I'm Radha. One doubt is on asking for more privilege for women. Are we making women unemployable? For example, when Indian labor may be cheap for an American company, but not for Indian company. If you see a P&L account, cost of goods, and the next biggest head is manpower. But the moment you think of appointing a lady member, you feel psychologically the productivity may not be there. She may not stay late or do work like a man. Even if she stays late, probably you have to send her through a cab. You have to ensure her safety, security, so it adds to the cost of the company. 3 months of maternity leave. Now if it goes to 6 months, again, oh my God, she'll come 6 months, I have to pay her salary without getting any work. You have more than 50 women employee, you have to provide for some creche facility or something like that, again, additional cost. So when a company which is striving hard to make profitability, by asking more and more facility, are we making like, let us get rid of women? Is it a problem?
Maybe I could start. I think, if you interview most CEOs and you ask them what they're trying to do, most of them will use the word growth. We're trying to grow. And then if you ask them what the biggest barrier to growing, most of them will say talent. And, I guess you don't have to be a mathematical genius to figure out that half the world's talent are women. And I think most companies and most people that I talk to on this, they realize it's a social imperative. And maybe, some of what we've talked about today feels a little more, socially, it's the right thing to do. But the reality is when you get down to the numbers, to the balance sheet, it actually is a business imperative. You cannot exclude half of your working population. And maybe India you have enough men to go around, but the rest of the world doesn't have a workforce. They have aging workforce. So I suppose as you go to different countries, the challenges is slightly different, but every CEO that I've talked about, the boards that I sit on, the academics that I talk to, the leaders, they realize that they cannot exclude half of the workforce and meet their objectives, their business objectives, their business imperatives without solving the issue of women in the workforce. And that's why they're willing to do it, and that's why they're willing to take on the cost.
Hello. Okay.
I have one question. I'm Soumya, and I'm from Schneider. One question. So this is for Apurva. This is more to do with when you said, why am I here? And in India, the law mandates that we have women representation in the board and all that. And you talk about the confidence levels. When the woman knows or is let know that she is a mere representation and not participative, or how will you motivate the woman to be more participative and inclusive when it probably strikes her that it is only for representation that she is there?
So let me just correct myself. I said I'm not against reservations because that sort of ensures that boards or wherever you want reservations, they are looking at a larger pool which also consists of women. Nowhere have I said that the woman has to be less competent and therefore she fits in there. So typically as you grow senior, and you will realize that women start becoming a little more invisible. So when there's a choice, if there are men board members who are also male and end up picking up males. So the idea is to select women and sort of force it for a temporary period of time till there is enough representation, but also to select competent women. And I think that is very, very clearly, and as a business leader, I'll tell you that if I have reservations on to fill in, I'm not going to fill it up with incompetent people, because that sort of then fuels this whole perception that women can't do it. So you have to, in fact, you have to have a very, very competent woman there, despite the fact that it's, so I think, and that you have to make very clear to the woman herself. And then, of course, as at every level, it's a question of constantly remembering as a board member that your job as a business leader is to ensure that they speak and they are more confident, and building an environment around them that sort of empowers them to, which is a soft thing, but it has to be a mindset that both males and female leaders need to keep at the back of the mind.
Should we go for last question?
Please. Yeah, one last question. This is diversity on business results. I've been hearing this statement, diversity before meritocracy, in the recent past quite often. So would you really appoint a woman just because she's a woman for any key positions? This is number one. Or would you really have somebody from Singapore just because he's a Singaporean adding diversity perspective? This is number one. Number two, are you not really discouraging or disappointing the other members? Say, for example, you have 10 members and you're appointing a women associate just because you're going to get in a diversity perspective. Are you not really disappointing the rest of the crowd?
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, there's a lot of women in this room. Do any of you want to be promoted because you're a woman? Anybody want to be promoted because you're a woman? Maybe a man would raise their hand. I don't know, but women don't want that. I mean, absolutely, women do not want that. And I think most women, when they're taking a new role, one of the things they ask the hiring manager is, "You're picking me because I'm the most qualified candidate, right?" And the answer is right. I just told you I joined Snyder 5 years ago. I had an all-male team. It's taking me 5 years to put 3 women on my team because, I also have the job of operating the supply chain with the best talent in the world. And so the 3 women I have on my team are the best talent in the world. And I think that's very important, and women want that. Diversity is really it's really a gift. And if you can build a high-performing team that's diverse, it's amazing what can be accomplished. But if you force things because of quotas, if you force things because of metrics, then you're doing the wrong thing. And I think everybody, you're all HR professionals, you all know that. But it doesn't excuse us from reaching into the organization and finding the talent and pulling it through. Because remember what I just told you, women will not raise their hand and say, "Pick me," unless they're over 100% qualified. And a male who's 60% qualified will say, "Pick me." So if you're not actively reaching into your organization, then you're letting your talent just stay where it is, basically. And so I think we have to reach into the organization.
And I would really encourage you not to have these kind of slogans. I don't know where you've heard this slogan, diversity before meritocracy, because please don't propagate this kind of a myth. I have not heard of any organization, any human being, any leader, male or female, ever say that I'd rather have diversity over meritocracy. Because after all, they have to also deliver business results, right? So they will only, and HR cannot force quotas down. HR has to first encourage people to understand that diversity helps your business results, and now therefore I will help you build a more diverse organization. So let's not even talk about, I'm horrified to hear something like diversity before meritocracy.
Okay.
It was meant to be provocative.
Yeah, so it's provoked
Yeah.
me.
With this, we will conclude this particular session. Dhananjay is already here. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Padki, Apurva, Annette, and Dr. Sharma. Friends, when we started such kind of interventions in the first program, we had 2 male participants, 4 male organizers, and 2 male support staff for audiovisual. So if today we have 30 male participants, I am really happy that things are moving. Thank you very much. And even to get student volunteers, colleges used to ask, it's a women leadership roles program, so should we have boys also? So, and while we were designing it, Rachna was mentioning, I hope we'll have some women in the hall. So that's why we changed. Every time we used to call it women leadership roles, we have changed it to gender balanced leadership. So maybe the words have worked, but the organizations and people have also worked. Thank you very much. And this panel was amazing. The kind of question and answers we had here. Of course, your lunch time is shrinked now. We'll join back sharp at 1:30 for the next session. And to do the honors, I'll request Ms. Hema Ravichandar. She is the regional president, NHRDN, and also board member of both NHRDN and Schneider, to do the honors by presenting the mementos, please. Dr. Rupandi Padki. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Apurva. Annette. Dr. Shikha Sharma. Thank you. The lunch is being served in the next hall on your my right hand side. Join us and please join us back sharp at 1:30 for the session where we have both Ms. Hema Ravichandar and Mr. Bhaskar Bhatt. Thank you. Welcome back, friends, for this post-lunch session. To begin, I would like to say our friend from HAL, NHRD in Bangalore chapter will help you in getting whatever you want to get started, and they'll ensure that you are in touch with the professionals who will help you out. Yeah. And friends, this session, which is Women in Boardrooms Looking Beyond Compliance, we have two amazing human beings, Mr. Bhaskar Bhatt and Ms. Hema Ravichandar. They don't require any introduction. I'll straight away invite both of them to the stage. So please join Mr. Bhaskar Bhatt and Mr. Hema Ravichandar. And I hand over the proceedings to Hema, please. Over to Hema.
So very good afternoon. We have the board session, and I hope after lunch it's not the board session. But you know, I have an amazing human being with me, and I'll talk a little bit about him. But before I do that, I want to say that I'm here wearing multiple hats. Like they said, NHRD board, Titan board, Schneider Electric Advisory Board, and a woman. So I think it's a real privilege to be here and to have Bhaskar with me here. So I told Dhananjay, let me introduce Bhaskar rather than go through the official profile. So of course, you all know Bhaskar. His is a very recognized face across India and the world. He's currently the MD of Titan. He took over as MD in 2002, April. And at that time, Titan had a turnover of about 727 crores. Today, last year actually, March 31st, 2015, it clocked 12,000 crores. So that's the kind of growth trajectory that Bhaskar has seen. Also, market capitalization in 2002 was about 300 crores. So turnover was 727, market cap about 300, just under 300. Today, market cap is about 35,000 crores. So he's really, transformed the whole retail industry, and of course, all of us feel that in Titan. He's an IIT Madras and an IIM Ahmedabad alumnus, and not surprisingly, a distinguished alumnus, award winner from both the institutions. So he's a distinguished alumnus of IIT Madras as well as the IIM. But what I like about Bhaskar is the other Bhaskar Bhatt. This is, everybody knows it, but the other Bhaskar Bhatt has many interests. He's an avid quizzer, he's a great singer, he loves to trek, he swims, he's a badminton player, and if you all don't watch out, he'll probably mimic you because he's a great mimic. So, if you look at the quadrants, he's really balanced his life in many ways. And if you look at all the other 4 quadrants that a leader should have, the customers, the investors, the employees, and of course society, he also epitomizes that in a great way. I don't know how many of you know, but he walks the shop floor as well as the shop's floor anonymously to find out what customers are saying. And rumor has it that he has not missed a single invitation from any dealer across India to visit a function. So he's that connected into the market. You all know, of course, investors. I told you how the market cap has grown. It's grown more than 120 times. And in fact, delighted investors are even